What if the darkest chapters of human history could teach us the most valuable lessons? War, often viewed through the lens of conquests and victories, also unveils some of the most shadowy periods known to mankind. These are not just stories of battlefields and generals, but of the silent echoes of those who lived, suffered, and transformed amidst turmoil. In this exploration, we delve into the essence of war, not merely as a series of conflicts, but as profound catalysts for darkness and, paradoxically, for learning. Every war, every battle carries with it the weight of human experiences, the struggles, the losses, and the resilience that shapes our collective memory. By revisiting these harrowing times, we aim to uncover the lessons they hold, lessons of courage, of the fragility of peace, and the strength found in the human spirit. Through understanding, we might find pathways to a more harmonious world. Join us as we journey through time, exploring the shadows cast by humanity's conflicts. Our journey begins in ancient times, where the brutality of war first showed its face. Imagine the vast armies of the Roman Empire, their legions marching across Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Each conquest brought with it not just a change of ruler, but a profound and often horrific transformation of the conquered societies. Cities were besieged and destroyed, their buildings reduced to rubble, and their histories almost wiped clean. The citizens faced fates often worse than death: enslavement, torture, and forced assimilation into the Roman way of life. This pattern wasn't unique to Rome. To the east, Alexander the Great carved through Asia with a similar fervor. His campaigns, while celebrated for their brilliance in strategy and tactics, were equally marked by their sheer destructiveness. The sacking of Persepolis is a stark example. What had been the glittering capital of the Persian Empire was left a smoldering ruin, its treasures looted, and its people decimated. These actions weren't just military strategies. They were messages of terror, intended to demonstrate power and discourage resistance. The impact of these ancient wars went beyond immediate bloodshed. They reshaped the cultural and social landscapes of entire regions. Languages changed, religions were supplanted, and the very memories of communities were altered, often irrevocably. From the ashes of ancient cities, the blueprint of war's cruelty was laid, shaping the future of warfare. As empires rose and fell, the Middle Ages became a fertile ground for conflict. The era was marked by relentless wars that were often justified through divine mandates. The Crusades, a series of religious wars sanctioned by the Latin Church, serve as a stark illustration of how deeply faith could drive the battle lines. Initiated primarily to secure control over holy sites considered sacred by both Christians and Muslims, the Crusades extended beyond mere military campaigns. They were characterized by lengthy sieges and devastating massacres, such as the infamous Siege of Jerusalem. Here, the city saw horrific bloodshed as crusaders stormed the walls, leaving tens of thousands dead in their wake. The streets of Jerusalem, meant to be a place of pilgrimage and peace, were tragically transformed into rivers of blood. Parallelly, the 100 Years' War between England and France painted a similar picture of agony. This conflict, sparked by disputes over rightful claims to the French throne, was punctuated by numerous sieges and the ravages of armies across the countryside. Towns were routinely besieged, and the inhabitants faced unimaginable horrors, including starvation, disease, and death. Disease, too, was an unrelenting companion in these conflicts. The movement of armies across Europe facilitated the spread of the Black Death, which decimated populations, further destabilizing the region. In these dark times, religion was wielded as a formidable tool in the quest for power, leaving indelible scars on the landscapes of both Europe and the Middle East. The Middle Ages taught us how deeply war can be intertwined with faith and power. With the discovery of the New World, the stage was set for new horrors. As European explorers set sail across uncharted oceans in the late 15th century, their journeys led to the encounter of continents previously unknown to them. Lands rich in culture and resources, inhabited by the Aztec and Inca empires, among others. But these encounters were far from peaceful explorations. They marked the beginning of devastating conquests. The Spanish conquests are particularly notable. Led by figures such as Hernán Cortés and Francisco Pizarro, these conquests were characterized by a brutal display of military might and strategic manipulation. The Aztec Empire, a sophisticated civilization centered in present-day Mexico, fell victim to Cortés in 1521. Similarly, the mighty Inca Empire, which sprawled across the Andes, was overthrown by Pizarro in the subsequent decade. But the swords and crossbows of the conquistadors were not the deadliest tools at their disposal. European diseases, to which the indigenous populations had no immunity, swept across the New World like wildfire. Smallpox, measles, and influenza decimated entire communities, sometimes wiping out up to 90% of the population in affected areas. The impact of these conquests extended beyond the immediate violence and disease. The social structures, spiritual traditions, and very ways of life of the native peoples were irrevocably altered or destroyed. The conquests did not just subjugate peoples, they reshaped landscapes, redirected histories, and set the stage for centuries of exploitation and colonial dominance. The conquest of the New World opened chapters of untold suffering and irreversible changes to entire civilizations. The 20th century witnessed wars that engulfed the world and darkness that touched every corner of the globe. In the muddy, blood-soaked trenches of World War I, humanity first glimpsed the modern age of warfare. Young men from across continents were summoned to fight in endless rows of trenches. Here, they faced not only the enemy's bullets, but also the grim realities of disease, mental breakdowns, and the pervasive presence of death. The introduction of chemical weapons like mustard gas left scars both physical and psychological that lingered long after the war ended. World War II escalated the scale of human suffering. The Holocaust stands as a harrowing testament to the depths of human cruelty. 6 million Jews, along with millions of others deemed undesirable, were systematically exterminated. The world watched in horror as the machinery of genocide was perfected with chilling efficiency. Concentration camps like Auschwitz became synonymous with the darkest capabilities of mankind. The conflict also brought about the indiscriminate bombings of civilian populations, forever changing the nature of warfare. Cities such as Dresden and Tokyo were reduced to rubble under a relentless onslaught from the air. The firestorms created by these bombings claimed hundreds of thousands of lives, blurring the lines between combatant and non-combatant. The culmination of this technological march towards destruction was witnessed in the atomic bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. In moments, 2 cities were obliterated, and the radiation left a legacy of suffering that would persist for generations. This stark demonstration of nuclear power marked a somber milestone in human history, showcasing the terrifying capabilities of war's new arsenal. The World Wars not only reshaped borders, but also offered a stark view into the depths of human cruelty. These conflicts forced the world to confront the grim realities of technological progress and its potential to amplify the darkest aspects of human nature, leaving an indelible mark on the consciousness of all humanity. In our age, wars are not only fought on battlefields, but also in the minds and perceptions of the public. As we delve into the more recent conflicts, such as the Vietnam War, the Rwandan genocide, and the Syrian civil war, we see a significant shift. The battlegrounds have extended beyond the physical terrains to the realms of information and media. This era of modern warfare is marked not only by the sound of gunfire, but also by the strategic dissemination of information. The Vietnam War stands as a poignant example of how media can alter the course of a conflict. For the first time in history, the brutal realities of war entered the living rooms of millions through television broadcasts. This unfiltered glimpse into the chaos and the stark images of civilian suffering shifted public opinion dramatically, leading to widespread protests and ultimately influencing policy decisions. Moving to the Rwandan genocide, where the horror unfolded swiftly in 1994, the role of radio broadcasts was sinister and profound. Radio stations were used not just for news, but to incite violence, directing killers to their next targets. The power of words became weapons, just as lethal as the machetes used in the massacres. In the ongoing Syrian civil war, social media platforms have brought global audiences into the heart of the conflict. Every airstrike and every cry for help is documented and shared, creating a continuous loop of awareness and, at times, desensitization. Even today, the shadows of war loom large, challenging us to learn from the past. As we reflect on these dark chapters, what lessons can we draw for the future? War, a grim tableau of human history, often repeats its patterns of power, greed, and the stark dehumanization of the other. These are not just themes of old tales of conquest and destruction, but are vividly present in conflicts across all ages. Each battle, each siege, each act of violence, while unique in its context, shares this haunting commonality: the overwhelming desire to dominate at the cost of human values. In the midst of these reflections, it becomes crucial to remember these histories, not as distant, archaic stories, but as vital lessons that hold the power to shape our future. History, when forgotten, is prone to repeat itself, but when remembered, it has the potential to foster empathy and peace. Let us not view the past merely as a sequence of events to be studied, but as a guide, a map that leads us away from repeating those very mistakes that once plunged humanity into depths of despair. May the shadows of the past illuminate our path to a more peaceful future.